Welcome back to the Pipe and Tobacco Talk podcast. It's episode 22. It's Jim, Big Meat from Emerson Southern Forged, with Tim, Salad Shooter from PapaBear's Pipes. Tim, read him the disclaimer before we get to our guest tonight.
Warning. This podcast will expose the listener to offensive, insensitive, off-putting, and otherwise socially unacceptable content known to the state of California to cause cancer. To avoid injury, the sponsors of this podcast suggest you act like a cis-normative, heterosexual, white male and grow a pair.
Away, Tim. We can offend everyone right off the bat and have our average watch time just
Applause
over 45
line.
seconds. Yeah. We got to get our laugh track going. Again, our opening, as always, sponsored by MBSD Pipes, mbsdpipes.com, for a fantastic selection of 7 L.E. Peterson estate pipes and now artisan pipes and their own line of Meerschaum. Thank you to Mitchell and Sarah. By the way, last week's episode with Sarah was hilarious, and we got a ton of comments about what a great mom Sarah is. And, you know, you have a 14-year-old. Yeah. You have a 14-year-old that you won't let her have a cell phone. God bless you, Sarah. You are a parent to be reckoned with. So, well done.
Nicely done.
Yeah, nicely done. So, before we get to our guest, Aaron McGee from Carolina, Cumberland, I wanted to talk about upcoming guests. Tim and I had a flurry of activity to start the new year, and we're bringing a bunch of folks on to interview. As you all know, Tim obviously is a pipe maker, and I am a pipe enjoyer. We have got some great guests coming up, and real quickly, next week we have Garrett Wu from Pipes by Wu. The week after, we have Kurt Walker from Walker Pipe Company. Glenn Tensky from Tensky is coming on the show. Neil Robertson, and what's Neil's pipe company name?
Robertson Pipes.
Robertson Pipes. Okay, excellent. Jason Patrick will be on, followed by Kevin Foster at Foster Handmade, and then Alan Harrelson. And as a special treat, we're going to schedule Mike Murphy from Pipe and Tamper Podcast to come on. He and Jay are taking a little break, and we'd love to get Mike on to chat with him. You know, everybody interviews Jay, and we'll get Jay on at some point, but I thought it'd be fun to interview Mike. So,
Mike's a good guy.
Yeah, he is. He is. So
hey, you know what? Let me, if I can add also, if you're watching this right now and you've obviously got nothing going on in your life, otherwise you wouldn't be listening to this. And since that's where you are in life, please like and subscribe. We're all the way up to, I think, 12 subscribers now, Jim. 12.
Oh, we're killing it.
We had 13, but somebody unsubscribed.
Yeah, well, you know, unfortunately, I upset the vegan listener that we had, and he's now left the reservation. So,
yeah.
No, actually, surprisingly
so anyway,
enough,
please do that.
Yeah, we're up to 166 subscribers on YouTube, and we're getting really positive reviews and great listeners on Spotify and Apple, which is where you can find our podcast. So please like and subscribe to any one of those three formats. Tim, we have a special guest with us tonight, and we are going to talk about magical pipes that young Mr. McGee makes. And I purposely didn't show this pipe off last week because I knew we were having Aaron on. And if you haven't seen Aaron's Radiator pipes, these are nothing short of breathtakingly spectacular. They're like a calabash. The bowl screws off at the bottom. Moisture gets trapped in the bottom. You just wipe it out if it gets moist. Absolutely a wonderful smoking experience. Even for being metal, they're very lightweight. They make great clinchers. You did a great job on the stem. Absolutely spectacular work. So, Aaron, welcome to the Pipe and Tobacco Talk podcast. How are you this evening?
I am good. I am good. And I hope y'all are well.
We're having the time of our life, you know.
Yeah. A little cold here.
Winter storm warning for Colorado currently. Ice Station Zebra. My son spent the afternoon sharpening his spear. He's going to hunt a narwhal this evening, so that'll be fun. And I said, you should have experience because your last girlfriend kind of looked like a narwhal. So, you know, yay. My,
Wow.
yeah.
Was she
Well,
kind of horny? Was she horny? Is that why you're saying that?
I won't say her name, but my wife and I affectionately referred to her as Cave Pig. So she was.
When she came in the house, you made her wear high heels so her knuckles wouldn't drag.
Now, actually, the problem is you put someone like that in high heels and you worry about floor compression and having her end up in the basement. And, I'm not that good with a wheelbarrow that I could get her back up the stairs. So, the
nice thing about a girl like that, though, nobody's going to steal her from him.
Well, surprisingly enough, they broke up due to her infidelity. And I thought, oh my God, how much grain alcohol did that take? Man, I wouldn't have hit that with a hammer. But no, it's the foibles of, I love my son to death.
Love.
I love my son to death. But his partner choosing directional sense is he had a girlfriend that we called Ring. She had long black hair. She was pale as a ghost. And they lived with us for a brief amount of time. And I was standing in the kitchen and I closed the refrigerator door and she had just come out of the shower. Her hair was wet. And I closed the door and I screamed like a little girl and jumped back about 4 feet. Because if you haven't seen the movie Ring, where the girl that looks like that crawls out of the TV, that's what it looked like.
Oh, yeah.
So we called her Ring, and then there was Trailer Skank. She was kind of special.
Man. Where's he go to find his women?
Swap meets, flea markets, bowling alleys, Normally someone would have to go to a bowling alley to meet a woman of your stature. And, I'm just thankful.
He's killing it.
He is. He is. Yeah, it's awful. And this has nothing to do with pipes. I don't know how we got off on this tangent. But we do have Aaron McGee with us tonight, and we're going to talk to him about some of the fantastic things that he's done. We're going to talk about his radiator pipes, his pen blanks, some of the acrylic, and the things that he's making stem material out of. So, Aaron, let's start at the beginning. How did you get to here?
Well, about 3 years ago, I started making pen blanks and turning pens. And it just kind of has been going from that. But I'd say probably for, about 10 years, I've been looking at pipes, like in different cases and online and things like that, just admiring the work that's put into them. Because I've been a woodworker pretty much my whole life. And I've told this to a few people, but not many. A pipe to me, I guess, was the top of woodworking. Because framers build houses, which that's where I started in woodworking. When I was 16 years old, I learned how to frame a house. But in framing, quarter inch, half inch off, it doesn't really matter. It all gets covered up. And then you move into furniture. And furniture, the tolerances are a whole lot tighter. And then you get into exotic woods with furniture. And your fit and finish is of higher quality in furniture. But in my mind, when I take an artisan pipe and put it beside a artisan piece of furniture, to me, the pipe takes more attention to detail than a piece of furniture does. Because a piece of furniture is big, a pipe is small. Sometimes you feel the necessary need to pull out a magnifying glass to look at a pipe to make sure the scratches are gone, and things like that. And on a piece of furniture, if you have a scratch on a piece of furniture, it's normally large and you can see it. I mean, you can see it from a mile away. and the time it takes to properly finish a piece of furniture compared to the time it takes to properly finish a pipe is worlds of difference. And just because of that, being able to make a pipe was, I guess, the top of my woodworking journey. And that's where I'm at. And that's just what I like to do. You know, I'm learning new things. It tests my skills that I already have. It makes me improve on skills that I already have, and it makes me find skills that I didn't know even existed. And so it's a whole new encyclopedia for me, when it comes to woodworking.
Yeah, that's a really great analogy, because I do some furniture making now and again, and you're right. You know, there's not much margin for error in a pipe, and if you make an error the size that you would make on a piece of furniture, you've got a piece of kindling in your hand. If that's what you've got on your pipe, because you'll notice the gaps. You know, it just won't fit together properly.
Yeah.
So I just really good analogy.
Yeah. You know, just getting the holes drilled correctly, which is not in my skill set. I can make drills do things that are physically impossible. Kind of like when you see people try to curve bullets by waving their gun. I can do that with a drill press and a simple drill. You know,
well, that's
it
actually
takes an incredible
good
amount
skill
of skill
to have,
to do that. You know, when you're making stems, I beg to disagree with you, because I destroyed a lot of stem material because nobody wants the draft hole about 2.5, 3 inches from their lip. Just some casual observations that I made.
Well, I'm just thinking of, like a paul. If you're trying to drill a paul style pipe, and you can get that drill bit to bend just right, to go around the bottom, so you're not all the way up at the top, where you're possibly going to file through at your bowl to shank transition.
Yeah. All right.
Learning those deep bends, it takes a while, and you ruin a lot of shanks that way. You end up making a lot of bamboo pipes.
Yeah.
They start out being a nice bent pipe, and it turns into a bamboo. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm so good that I make straight bamboo pipes.
Excellent. I don't know what the problem is. I've cut this 3 times and it's still too short. Yep. I got that gear.
I need the board stretcher. Where's the board stretcher?
That's right. And by the way, kids, tonight I am trying Angel's Envy port wine finished bourbon. So if you wonder why I'll be slurring my words later and my eyes get closed, it's Angel's Envy tonight. So
that's a tasty one there, isn't it?
It's awfully good. I'm enjoying my first glass of it. So I cracked it open just before the show, and I've had a couple of sips on it, and it's pretty good.
Pretty nice.
Well, if you're wondering,
so
I'm drinking cherry Coke.
Cherry Coke. All right.
What did you put in your cherry Coke? Is it like Jack Daniels or?
No, there's nothing at all in there. I don't drink too much anymore.
Oh. Yeah, I can't do the show sober, so.
So, Aaron, the radiator pipes.
Yes.
How did that brainchild come about? That's really cool.
Well, it is not my original idea. Have you heard of the Weeby radiator?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Rings a bell.
Mine is based off of that design. And what he had done, I am not 100% sure of why he released his design and made it open source. But I come across the Radiator one day. I would think I was like on one of the tobacco websites, and I was just cruising through it, and it popped up, and it was like on sale, and I seen it, and it was like this aluminum looking thing, and I was like, hey, that looks kind of interesting. And so I started doing research, and once I finally got to his website, it had the whole thing up at top that he had released his design into a open source format. And so I was like, okay. So I downloaded the blueprints and I made the first two. But I couldn't make mine exactly like his because I didn't have the same tooling. And so that's what made mine a little bit different. And then I got some tooling and made a few that are almost identical to his, but I changed the thread height on the aluminum base itself. Because from the blueprint that I was looking at, a lot of the bowls or the chamber depths, they were all the same, and you were kind of set on the overall height of the bowl itself. And so if you wanted a deeper chamber, you didn't have any choice but to make the bowl taller. And, once the bowl gets so tall, it just looks awkward no matter what it's on. And so I was like, well, if I reduce the height of the threads, then I can keep the same height of the bowl but have a deeper chamber. And then that's basically the only difference between mine and his.
All right.
So you make the aluminum, I guess the heel with the threaded heel. You cut that from just bar stock and then machine the exterior.
Yes.
And put threads on the inside and drill and tap it and everything, and then. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, let's see. Where is one? I'm sorry for leaving.
We'd like to thank Aaron for being on the show today.
Oh, sure. So that's what
just
the Radiator
wanders
starts
off. That's okay. We do that too. Okay.
So it just starts as a 1-inch
that's a
piece of aluminum.
Okay.
And
all right.
Yeah, they're pretty though. Really nice.
Yeah.
The nice finish on them and everything.
Yeah, I'm having fun with it.
Yeah, I think you're onto something with the Radiator pipe. I think that's just it's a fantastic smoking experience because someone like I'm a clincher, so when I pick up a pipe, it goes into my mouth and stays there till I finish the bowl, and I will accumulate some moisture and I'll get some gurgling in some pipes, and with this pipe it's fantastic, just a cool dry smoke from top of the bottom of the bowl. So well done.
Well, I do appreciate it.
Yeah. And
so
tell us,
Aaron, go ahead, Jim.
No, go ahead.
No, this is for Caleb.
Okay.
This is the Caleb segment.
Oh, okay. We were just going to talk over each other then?
No, you go ahead.
Go ahead. No, please, Tim, I insist. Go ahead. We want to see if we can make Aaron twitch violently like Caleb does.
You're getting close. You're getting close. Hold on,
Jim. High five.
if you see me, like, I was looking for my light. I've been looking for my lighter for like the past 5 minutes, so I have my lighter now.
Excellent. Excellent. This segment brought to you by Xanax.
The rod material that you make. I work with that. I have a bunch of your rod material, and it didn't sound very good, did it? Anyway, the
I'm used to it, actually.
Cumberland material.
If you two would like to have a quiet...
a bragger, huh?
Yeah, everybody likes my rods.
Oh, look at the tiny kids.
I said that as like, boy, I wish I could take that back.
Yeah. I'll just feed into it.
If you two would like to have a quiet, intimate moment together, I'll step aside and do something else for the next 20 minutes.
So anyway, I like the way that the material cuts. There's a lot of it that's translucent. Like I almost finished this calabash today, and that's some of your Cumberland material. And I just want to tell you, I just really enjoy working with it, and it's nice. It feels good, when to clench it. Polishes nicely. It's good stuff.
No, yeah, because the stem on mine is red and black, which is kind of my, if it's not blue, red and black is, that's 1A and 1B, and it's gorgeous. It just has a depth of color you don't see in a lot of other things. And how do you do that? I mean, where do you find time to do all this stuff?
I don't sleep.
When you're
there's 8 hours there.
I don't need to sleep. No, who needs that?
When you get to be our age, when your beard gets gray, don't worry, you're not sleeping more than 3 hours a night, because I know I don't.
Oh, it's working on it. I'm just far enough away from the camera you can't see all the little white spots in it.
Yeah, me either. I mean, you can barely tell that my beard is gray from here. Yeah,
I belong to Hair Club for Men.
Yeah, I try. I picked up a bottle of that, just for men, dye your beard a different color. And it said, okay, compare it to this color chart. Apply hourly. No. I can't put this on every...
Not doing that. Not doing that.
Get black tar. Oh, okay. There we go. That'll work better.
Yeah. Sharpie.
just rub tobacco ash in it, every few minutes, and it'll get darker.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
Yep. No.
So how have you been making the pen blanks and that for quite a while? What's the story on? Help us with the story on that, on the pen blanks and the Cumberland.
I guess material. I can start all the way at the beginning. I bought a lathe maybe about 6 years ago, and I just wanted to learn how to turn bowls. Well, I have a tendency to jump head first into things, and so I decided that I was going to make a bowl every night for a year. It worked. I mean, I made it about 3 weeks, and then my wife told me I had to stop bringing bowls in the house. So I had to find. So I had to start finding other stuff to make on the.
So familiar with this.
So I had to find other stuff to make on the lathe, and my mom had started this new hobby. It was called diamond painting. Okay, and they use these it's a special pin to put these little jewels or diamond dots, whatever you want to call it, on a sticky canvas. And it's basically like paint by numbers, but with little dots, little plastic beads or whatever you want to call them. My mom was doing that, and she seen that people were making custom pins to do this. Well, she knew I had the lathe, and she sent me a picture of one, and she said, "Hey, you think you can make me one of these? Because I don't want to spend $40 on one." I was like, okay. And so I made her one, and she posted it in one of these diamond painting groups, and people went nuts over it. And so that was 3 years ago, and I'm still turning diamond painting pins. And during that process, in the very beginning, I was buying acrylic pen blanks, commercially available pen blanks. And I found out how much I absolutely despise acrylic. I don't like turning it. I don't like chewing on it. I don't like smelling it. I just don't like working with it at all. And that created a problem because at the time, to make custom pins, that was one of the only available options unless you were on Facebook and you knew the proper groups to go to get, custom pen blanks. So I started doing research and looking at different materials and different pigments and things like that. And I started making my own pen blanks just because I wanted to spend the least amount of money on pen blanks because I was going to start selling diamond painting pens. And it just kind of come with the territory. Because I was trying to get costs down to get profit up and things like that. And I'd say a year ago, I had a lady in my diamond painting group that I put all my pins in. And she sent me a message, and she asked me, she was like, "Have you ever made a tobacco pipe?" And I was like, actually, I have not, but I have been looking at them for the past 6 years, admiring them and wanting to try to make one, which I had never smoked a pipe. I looked at them, I'd admired them, but I've always smoked cigarettes or cigars, or I transitioned to vaping, and primarily throughout the day I vape just because it's easy to do. I can carry it in my pocket. I can hit it once or twice, put it back in my pocket. Especially like if I'm at a job site or I'm at a customer's house or something like that. It's a whole lot better in public around customers to vape than, to pull out a cigarette or a cigar or something. But the want to make a pipe was there, and so I tried. Well, I bought this little Chinese metal lathe because from all my research in the beginning, I figured, the best way to make a pipe was going to be on a metal lathe. So I buy this little cheap Chinese eBay lathe, and the very first pipe that I tried to turn on it, I was drilling the chamber and didn't have any tools or anything to make pipes, but I did find a spade bit, and I had read about, regrinding a spade bit to make a chamber bit. Well, I had no idea what I was doing, and I made the profiles totally, way too aggressive on the spade bit. And when I got about halfway into the stumble, it grabbed, it jerked, and it threw both the belts off of the lathe, and it like split the belt, but it didn't bust it all the way in half on one of them. And this was the first time I'd ever used the lathe, and I'd already broke it. And so it was the whole sign. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And so it was really discouraging for the very first pipe that I tried to make on a brand new lathe, and I break the lathe. And so I kind of set that block on the back of the workbench, and it takes me about 3.5 months to track down the belts that I needed to fix the lathe, because I bought a Chinese eBay lathe. I finally get the belts on there, and it took me, I'd say, maybe about another 6 months to build up the courage to try to make another pipe. And the second one that I made, I actually completed it, and it was the manzana burl stummel with a maple burl stem on it. The stem was ugly as everything. I had no idea what I was doing. I tried to do it all on a 1-inch benchtop sander. I didn't know anything about files or, shaping a stem or anything. But I went at it, and I completed it. And once I completed it and looked at it, although it was the ugliest thing I'd ever seen in my life, people liked it. And to this day, I think it was right after the first of the year, I made the post on Instagram of my first pipe and then the last pipe that I finished this past year. And I'm getting comments about how people like the way my first pipe looks. It's a cool shape and everything, but technically, as a pipe, it's not a pipe. You can't smoke it. I tried to smoke it, and it almost burnt the crap out of my hand. So
That's the kind of pipes Jim makes.
I did make a pipe. So I made a pipe.
That's good.
And that was that was the start. It was. So
God bless you.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And looking how far you've come.
Actually,
that's every.
Here you go. I'm gonna run away from the camera one more time. You asked me about it, and I said something about it, and I just seen it. I broke it because I was messing with it the other day, but this is my first pipe. So,
look at that.
And the reason you can't smoke it is because you see how big the chamber is. And then it tapers so much down here that, you can get your finger in it, and you have maybe a 1/16 of an inch or an 1/8 of an inch, like right here, and it gets kind of warm. But it's cool shape.
Okay, all right, you drilled it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
good shape.
It's a good shape, and now you know why they have those tapered bits to make chambers with. So
yes.
Look at that, a learning experience for everybody.
Yes, always.
Excellent. So, how many pipes have you made so far? Do you keep track by number, or do you know?
I have a number somewhere, but normally I have to go back and count. Because like I said about something, I normally go head first into everything, and so once I completed the first pipe, it was like just balls to the wall. I have to make as many pipes as I possibly can, as fast as I possibly can, just because I need to. And so I think within the first 3 months of me making pipes, I had made 20 pipes. Yeah. And then about
Yeah.
50,
And
I think either number 19 or number 20 was the very first pipe that I sold, and it actually got sold to Mr. J. Furman. So,
yeah.
which at the time, I know who Jay is now. I mean, everybody knows who Jay is. But at the time, I had no idea who Jay was because I wasn't in the pipe world. I wasn't a pipe maker. I had just started my Instagram account for Carolina Cumberland, and I was posting the rods on there. And I had started posting a few pipes on there because I was... I guess I was partially embarrassed in the beginning, which, I mean, a lot of craftsmen are. The first things that they make, you know, it's kind of, you can feel embarrassed to show it to somebody. And so I was just starting to feel comfortable, and so I started posting a couple of them on Instagram, and then Jay seen it, he sent me a message, and I sold that pipe to him, and then it was probably another three months before I sold another pipe. But I wasn't really trying to sell pipes, and even to this day, I don't actively, you know, like, not every day. I'm not posting every day trying to sell a pipe, or, you know, I may post a pipe every week or every other week for sale, because I enjoy making pipes. I would still consider it more of a relaxing hobby that my wife doesn't let me keep everything, so I have to sell some of it.
Well, she's probably got cupboards full of bowls. So, every pipe that you make is just one more square inch of space you're taking up. So,
yeah,
she probably wouldn't mind it if you made her a few billy clubs,
Yeah.
She might
those are
not
nice
mind
gifts.
it, but I may.
Well, it's very narrow-minded of you, Mr. McGee.
Yeah, come on, man. Always thinking of yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, my margin of error with my wife is very, very small.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Now, how long have you been married? Married, kids, all the fun stuff?
Yes. Let's see. February 1st, I will have been married 21 years.
You're a veteran.
Yes, I am. Let's see. I have 4 kids. I have 1 daughter and 3 sons. They are 25, 23, 19, and 15.
All right. So 2 of them think you're the smartest guy in the world, and 2 of them can't believe you weren't eaten by dinosaurs. I'm sure the teenagers are.
Actually, I think all of them just think I'm dumb.
You'd be surprised how smart you get after they are out on their own, having to earn a living.
Yeah.
Especially when you end up with, they reproduce, and they've got kids that are doing the same shit to them that they were doing to you. All of a sudden, you get really smart, and you didn't even do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing changed.
Dad, how did you not smother me with a pillow? Because that's kind of my recurring thought with my children.
Right. Yeah, should have killed you in the cradle.
Yeah, there's a lot of nights I stood over your bed with that pillow. Don't be fooled. Restraint got the best of me.
Aaron, will you do any shows this year?
I'm hoping to. I'm still in a weird transition period. My wife just went back to work October of last year. And so I'm we're trying to figure out this whole schedule thing because she's right now. She is 12-hour night shift. She's a nurse. And so I'm trying to have to figure out how to take the kids to school and pick them up and then do my stuff in the shop and figure out dinner and all this other stuff because she's working these crazy shifts. And so I'm trying to find a normal at the moment.
Like, again, with these kids.
Yeah, I know.
Getting in the way all the time.
Exactly. Like I tell my youngest one all the time, the gun's always loaded. Careful what you point it at.
That's right. That's right.
Excellent.
You don't want to point it at, what was her name?
Cave pig.
Cave pig. Cave pig. Cave pig.
Where did you meet her, Alex? Under a bridge? No, Dad. Oh, she looks like a troll.
Clippity clopping over the bridge, Mr. Goat.
Was she pulling a farm implement? No? It's another big plus.
She's like, where'd you get that big corn-fed girl?
Yeah, good night. Just keep your hands and feet away from her mouth, son. She'll be fine.
You poke her in the ribs and go, nice marbling.
And for you, Princess, we've got a bale of handsome oats.
Princess.
Oh, man. That could be a whole episode talking about my son's girlfriends, but we're not going to do that. So we've talked about that enough because it's just a reoccurring nightmare.
Go in front of his eyes with your hands like, how many fingers do I have up?
Have you been to an optometrist? Because what happened here?
Right. How many fingers do I have up? He says Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. Dad, I went to the dispenser and I met this charming individual. Oh, God. Please no. Please no.
Well, I was given plasma and she was sitting in the chair right next to me.
Yeah.
She smelled like bacon, so I brought her home.
Yeah. Oh, Dad, meet my new girlfriend. Oh, my God. Did you have to grease her sides to get her in the door? What the hell is this?
You're going to be getting a letter.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain of that. Another sternly worded letter to add to my collection of sternly worded letters. Oh, now, have your boy, any of your kids married yet? Are they dating seriously?
My daughter is living with her boyfriend, but she's waiting on him to propose, something like that. And then my oldest son, he lives with his girlfriend and then like two other roommates, and she is waiting on him to propose, but I don't think he's ready for all that. And
are the other two roommates girls as well? Because if they are, he's never going to propose.
No, they're well, they are, but they vary in age a whole lot. Like one of his roommates actually went to nursing school with my wife. So it's just more of a, him and his girlfriend really wanted their own place, and so they just kind of took whoever they could as roommates so they could afford it.
I see. So you got to put notes on your food in the refrigerator. Do not eat. You know? That's my
and speaking
chicken
of
tetrazzini.
eating,
Stay out.
Yeah. Chicken tetracycline. What the hell is that? Yeah, don't worry. You'll never catch anything again. So anyway, tonight for dinner, my wife and son decided that they wanted batter fried shrimp. And I said, great, I can make that. Anyway, the smoke detectors work. So we're kind of excited about that.
And they're wired to the fire station because the truck showed up.
Yeah. Me, 9 fire guys, couple of
Come in the house with
paramedics.
axes and a hose.
Well, what are you cooking tonight, Jim? Oh, I set a couch cushion on fire and I'm roasting a blanket currently, so this will be fun. I didn't even realize it was that smoky until my wife started coughing behind me, and I turned around and looked. It's like, oh, yeah, it's
Jeez.
deep frying shrimp in the house. Not good at that. We won't do that again.
We shrimp make big smoke.
Yeah, they sure do. And you know what? and sometimes they're too well done and they're a little rubbery, and sometimes you don't cook them all the way through. Either way, both my wife and son are currently resting comfortably in the restroom. So, well done, Jim. Well done.
There was remember the back in the old days when they had fondue was a thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I got invited to a New Year's Eve party, and I had recently been released from a relationship, so I was by myself, and everybody else was couples, and so I had quite a bit to drink, and I kind of remember what the room looked like, but I had my eyes were like little slits, and they had fondue. And everybody was sticking those long forks in the beef and putting it in the boiling oil, and then dip it in things, and and they were eating it. I was just stabbing the meat, and it was just eating it, all the uncooked beef and uncooked fish and everything. And they said after that, you were kind of making us sick. And I said, my stomach's not real happy either.
Yeah.
I'll get to you later. I got to deal with this stomach.
I'm going to sit in the handicap stall and hang onto the rail and pray for death. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They had I do remember this. There was a guy there. He had he was stationed in the UK, and they called it Britain at the time. And he had a beer yard. And it's a flute. It's about it's 36 inches long. It's a yard of beer, and it took 6 beers. You filled. There was a globe at the bottom, and then it looked like a blunderbuss. It had like a long stem on it that opened at the top, and you would fill that thing up, and you start drinking. And it would, you'd think you were making progress because the tube through the length of it was fairly small, and you watch it go down. Well, as soon as that air got behind the beer at the bottom of that bulb, all that beer came out at you. And I must have tried that 3 or 4 times. And the last time I finally got it right and drank it all. But I took a bath a couple of times. So I think that was why I was having a hard time seeing that the meal wasn't quite cooked.
Well, Tim, sticky, wet, and confused is a good way to spend the evening. So, well done.
That's right. You smell awfully malty tonight, my man.
Tim, we'd like you to step away from the open flame source. Oh, okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Excellent. So, what's next for Carolina Cumberland? I mean, you're talking to Tim and I, and you keep saying, I throw myself into stuff. Yeah, Tim and I aren't familiar with that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Next is just trying to focus on what I've been doing.
Okay. All right. Well, I have to tell you, I think the radiator pipes are.
Go ahead.
Well, I think the radiator pipes are going to be a huge hit for you. I've talked to so many people have cost me. Well, where did you get that? It's get a hold of Aaron at Carolina Cumberland. They're fantastic. I posted a couple of pictures about it. this, I think that you have really hit on something with this. I think it's a great idea, and I think that's gonna have legs for you and run a little bit.
I just hope my legs can grow and I can keep up.
All right.
Yeah, they and as a pipe maker, I love your rods, man.
I do appreciate it.
We're gonna get a letter.
I was just
We're gonna get a letter, Tim.
I know.
Just treading on
I was
thin
trying to think,
ice
how can I say this without, I've been trying to avoid it all night, but by God, it's got to come out.
Here I am making fun of my son's girlfriends who were so heavy they had a gravitational pull and toasters would orbit them, and you keep talking about Aaron's rods. We're gonna get canceled.
Definitely.
That's why I think that's why we have to read the disclaimer early and often, Tim.
Oh man. Well, what can I say? Hey, not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, have you seen some of the color patterns that Aaron has come up with? It's breathtaking.
Oh no, I'm looking at them right. I'm looking at them right here. On my.
I don't even know how you get. I'm amazed at the color. You've posted some pen blanks recently, and I'm like, how did you get those colors? How did you do that? How does that happen? Because I tried my hand at epoxy dyeing, and here's what I discovered. If you don't mix it up thoroughly, the color floats to the top, and then the bottom is clear, and it looks like it's a special ed project. Oh, look, Jim, you tried real hard. That was good. No.
Well, sometimes that can I guess it's learning. I don't even know. A special ed for that's a good one. You're gonna make my nose run.
You got him, Jim. Good job.
No, sorry about that. I don't mean to make the guest crack up, but here we are.
Oh, okay.
Boy, that one had some runway. That's good.
Yeah. I did this thing. I had all of these spent 45 casings, and you watch. The dilemma with YouTube's is you get on YouTube and it's like, oh, I want to see how to do an epoxy table, and the next thing you know, you've just traveled down the rabbit hole. And this guy was making, he put lights in it and then epoxied around it, and it gives you this really cool color. And I thought, oh, that would be cool with polished up all these brass casings. And I thought this light blue color would look really cool. And I mixed up epoxy and put it all in. And here are some helpful tips when you're working with epoxy. Go ahead and run a little heat over the top of it to get the air bubbles to rise, because those are really cool when you don't. You get a lot of those. A lot of those. And if you're not paying attention and you don't keep stirring the epoxy a little bit, you get the color. And I got this really cool, it's almost a perfect separation line. So the bottom is clear. See the 45 shell casings perfectly. The top is a dark blue that light doesn't penetrate. And when I put the light around it, it just looked like, oh, Jim, why did you go ahead and put that in a box in the closet and never, ever bring it out again?
The little special needs man made that.
You have to finish it.
You have to
finish it all the way out.
When your wife comes up and pats you on the head and goes, "Oh, you tried so hard on that."
I know. You're sitting there making it, and you got the beanie with the propeller on it.
Look, she looks at you.
And you're thinking, for my next act, I'm going to run with scissors.
Yeah. No, honey, I'm going to glue macaroni to an empty soup can and put glitter on it. Won't that be cool? Yeah. We went to this shop in St. Augustine and saw this wooden cutout that had all these shells glued to it. And I thought, well, I've got a hot glue gun, and we can order shells and I can cut out, a piece of plywood and put these on. And here's what I'm not very good with is a glue gun. There's enough glue on that those shells will never leave because they're encased in hot set glue. And by the way, hot set glue is not always clear. And my wife's just another, oh, you tried real hard. Where do you want to hang this up, honey? I'll put that in the box in the closet with the 45 shells in epoxy. Don't bring that out again. Look, Jim, I got you some dried macaroni and some glitter. All right.
And there's the Christmas Vacation, where Chevy Chase and what's her name, D'Angelo, are in bed, and he's got sap on his fingers. He's trying to read a magazine. It's coming apart. That's you. Got that glue all over your fingers, sticking everywhere. Got stuck in your wife's hair,
Yeah. Jim, why are your fingers blistered? When you touch hot glue with the little shell to put it on the board, it will burn you. Oh, really? How many did that take you to figure out? Oh, about 50. Oh, you don't even have fingerprints anymore. No, don't worry about it, honey. I'm fine.
She said, look what I made, honey. Nice job, Jimmy. She says, can I have milk now?
Do I get a cookie? No. No.
Do I get milk?
Now
Aaron,
my wife did, and my wife did that to me once. So I figured that there's this big thing of pouring the acrylic paint and on the canvas and like spinning it and all this other stuff, to make it disperse.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I was like, okay, I can pour resin and I can do colors in resin, so I can pour acrylic paint on a canvas and spread it around. I did that one time, and I mean, it looked okay in my eyes, but I showed my wife, and she just kind of shook her head, and I asked her where I could hang it up, and she was like, it took her about 10 minutes, and then she was like,
in the garage.
No, she said, well, I guess you can put it on the top shelf in the bedroom. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, honey, we'll get some magnets and put it on the fridge.
Yeah.
So,
where can I put the top shelf of the bedroom? Does this mean we're not having sex tonight?
Yeah.
Oh.
So
yeah.
I still have.
I've seen the YouTube video.
I still have like 15 jars of paint on top of my refrigerator in the shop from this failed experiment. So, I could pull these jars down and shake them up and pour some paint out on a canvas. It'd probably look like dog shit, but it'll work.
Oh, look, honey, it's just like those gorillas painted in the zoo. Yeah. I'm better than a gorilla.
See,
all right.
You tell her, well, honey, it looks good in my eyes. That's the problem. It's in your eyes.
And I know exactly.
Well, I'm supposed to wear glasses. Maybe that's my excuse.
Yeah.
There you go.
I saw the YouTube video where you put the paint can on the string and you just kind of swing it around the canvas.
That's going to work out well. Yeah.
Here's some helpful tips, kids. A 1/2-inch hole empties the can quickly. It does not produce a cool pattern.
No. And it doesn't matter what colors you mix together. If you mix enough colors together, you get gray every time.
No, you can get brown and black.
I did that the first time, and I showed my wife the video. I'm going to go out and do this. And she comes out about an hour later and she looks at me and she goes, "Oh, keep at it, Jim. You're doing good." And walks away. And I knew that was a failed experiment.
Hey, you're wearing a helmet, like a bike helmet. This is bullshit.
Yeah. My wife is putting the harness back on me again, guys. I can't go out tonight.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, God. It always makes me feel like a window licker when I do these things. It's like,
Right.
I can be arts and craftsy. No, stop it, Jim.
Nah,
You're so bad
stop.
at this. Yeah, don't.
Here.
Let's.
In fact, you don't even get the 120 pack of crayons. You get the 8-pack.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, look, here's white, blue. Yep.
No,
yep.
God. Hey, Aaron, I wanted to ask you before we lose our minds here. So some of the colors you're out of stock now, like the black and red, and the black and blue swirl, and the gray and black rod. When will you be making more?
When I don't know, when I don't sleep the next time.
Okay.
I'm just, I just got so much
You're
going
gonna
on.
get a package in the mail.
I know I need to do it. I'm just trying to get there.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Well, I would like some. If whenever you get around to it, that'd be great.
Okay.
There you go. You've already sold some rod, and
when I get
haven't
around
even
to
made
it
it yet.
And that makes me sound like I'm a slacker or something when I get around to it. Which I might be a slacker though.
First thing I'm doing, I'm complimenting you on your rods, and then now you're criticizing me because I said get around to it. What's a guy got to do to get a lift around here?
Tim is begging for your rods.
What's a guy got to do to get a little rod around here?
Oh man, see,
Oh, look,
I should have brought like a rag or something out here. Y'all are killing me. My nose likes to run when I laugh too much, and y'all are just making me laugh.
Hey, just let the snot run down into your mustache. That's fun.
No, it's not fun.
Sometimes Tim and I drool uncontrollably. We're good. Yeah.
The old bad look for the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, excellent. Well, Aaron, would you like to stick around for the rest of the show? We're going to talk about what's new in pipe makings, and I know Tim has got his shop back and up in order. You can ask us anything if you want to ask us anything, and then we'll talk about. I got a couple of blends.
I think I might have to go make some rods.
Well, all right. Well, Tim's begging for it, so
get the whip out.
Yeah, I know. That's the vibe.
No sleep for you tonight, Buster.
Yeah, it's like go do it now. Do it. Which
I know.
I'm not.
No sleep for you.
Yeah.
Tim's looking for a 12-inch rod in blue and black. Give it to him.
Purple.
What? Black and purple? What? Huh?
Yeah.
Ow.
Yeah.
That car accident.
Yeah. My face
I guess
hurts. I've been laughing too much.
No, the real thing with the rods is, I can be funny about it, and I do get kind of lazy sometimes, but in the winter, it's twice as hard to get the resin to do what I want it to, just because it's cold.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of, I think the first couple nights we had really cold nights here in Carolina. The next day I tried to make a batch of rods and I lost 2 batches of rods back to back because it was so cold, and once it finally got to the temperature I needed it at, it just flashed and it was a mess. So it was one of those things where I felt like I should be getting a pat on the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it felt.
Well, look, whenever you've got it, just if you can, remember, not that you couldn't remember, but I'm just all over it tonight. Shoot me a message or something if you would when you have some available.
Yeah, I will.
I'll keep looking.
All right. There you go.
Yeah, I'll let
Excellent. So, like I said, you're more than welcome to stick around and chat with us for a little while longer, because it'll only get sillier from here. So, Tim, you know what time it is. Your shop is back open. What's new in pipe making? Come on, show us, Tim.
Well, okay. This is number 0124. It's the first one of the year. It's got some spalted tamarind on the cap here, and some Mauser birch, and some of the famous Carolina Cumberland for the stem.
Ooh.
And this is stabilized box elder.
Ooh.
And it's kind of hard to tell with the light here, but it's got some spalting in here. So yeah, it turned out pretty good.
Excellent.
So that's the first one of the year right there. Back at it.
Beautiful. Look at that. And it's a calabash too, I assume, right? Looks like the bowl pops
it
out.
Is.
And wonderful.
Yep.
Look at what's number 2 going to be? Have you thought that far in advance? Ooh.
Number 2?
Mm-hmm. What are you making?
I've got a couple of commissions that I've got to make. And one is it's a bent pipe, and he wants it shaped sort of a pineapple shape, and then I've got a couple.
Is that for somebody named Riley by any chance?
It is, as a matter of fact. Yeah, yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Because of the tobacco you blended for him.
I didn't know that he wanted a pineapple pipe, so it's
And then a couple of Danish eggs, and I've got some stem work I've got to do too. So I got plenty to keep me busy. Yeah.
Excellent.
And then building pipes for Muletown and for the website. So
nice.
Back at it. Yeah. Excellent.
And your shop looks fantastic, and you got to be thrilled to have that much more space now.
Oh man, it's just great. I pinch myself,
Excellent.
I was up to my elbows in bins full of briar and rod material. Oh, there we go with the rod business again, but you know what I mean. And constant trying to manage the dust and and all that clutter. And now I've got double the space, and I can fill it up with more shit. It's great.
Perfect. And that's what
I got nowhere else to build. Well, I've got nowhere else to build, so when this gets filled up, we're going to move. Just sell the house and move.
Tim, you've got 35 acres. You've got room to build. Don't give us that nonsense. You can always build a bigger barn,
True.
Yeah, Of course, Anita's going to look at you and go, "Do we really need another barn?" Yes, we do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how it works.
You don't get all the barns,
No.
She gets all the barns. I got one.
Yeah. Exactly. Time to even it up. How many barns do you have? 2 or 3? I've only got one. I think I need a second barn. Just to keep material.
Only fair.
That's how I feel. Yeah.
Yeah.
An annex.
Yeah. So do we want to talk about new tobacco that I added to my collection or new pipes that I added to my collection? You guys tell me.
Either way, it's your
All
call.
right. All right. Well, let's start with tobacco. And just so people don't think I'm a lunatic. So I got a can of Captain Black because I do like Captain Black. The secret to enjoying Captain Black is to take it out of the can and put it in a jar and let it sit for 2 years. So this can will go into 2 jars. It'll sit in the closet for 2 years, and I'll enjoy it. But the reason I got it was I wanted the Captain Black Jar of Doom. And PNC Pipes and Cigars. For $5 more, you got the Captain Black jar. So I got a Captain Black jar.
Nice.
And then I ordered some tobacco for the collection. So Thomas at Tinker's Pipes turned me on to Rat Ray's Marlin Flakes. So I got a couple of jars of this. I really like it. It's a fantastic vapor. And when you get a little age on it, it's even more special. So I got some Rat Flake. And then lastly, in tobacco, Mac Baron Plum Cake, which is another vapor, but it's a navy flake. It's Virginia's and Perique and Limburley. And it's topped with rum. It's a very good navy flake. And I like it a lot. And, normally I just order blenders, but this time I actually ordered some stuff for myself. So that's what's new in tobacco. Now let's talk about what's new in pipe. So our guest in 2 weeks is Kurt Walker from Walker Pipe, and I got this little gem from him. And he took a hiatus. He had an injury. He had some stuff going on in his life, and he just hasn't been making many pipes. And he messaged me and said, "Hey, I'm back, and I'm making pipes, and I got this wonderful billiard. It's partially rusticated, partially smooth, which I'm finding more and more interesting and attractive, that kind of one of a kind look, where it's got the rustification here on part of the stummel and part of the bowl. It's just a really interesting pipe. Smokes great. Absolutely love it. And then our mutual friend Richard from EP Pipes saw this one on his website. It's an olive wood with a copper band on it. Just a sharp-looking pipe, just the right size bowl. And as always, Richard sent a fantastic note, which I really like and appreciate. In fact, he messaged me just moments ago saying, let's see. So I made him an EP Pipes blend, and it wasn't quite what he wanted, and I've been working on a revision for about 2 months. And he says, well, I think I have to keep this one because I've given it to a couple of people and they really like it. So that'll be his Lester Haig blend. I seem to be chasing what I got from being a Camel cigarette smoker for 30 years. I wish that could be replicated in a pipe blend. I can help you out there. We got that, Richard. So if you're watching, Richard, I will put together a Camel blend for you. Camel used a lot of Turkish tobaccos, so a little more Smyrna, a little more Basma and Samson, and we can put a little burley in that and get you pretty close to a Campbell cigarette. So there you go. So that's the pipe from Richard, and then pipes from Woo, our guest from next week. And by the way, he does this little birth certificate with a wax stamp on it, which is really cool. And he and I were chatting back and forth, and he didn't post this pipe, but he showed it to me. It is a billiard. It's almost a formal looking pipe. It's a very deep burgundy color, a brass adornment, red and black stem on it, kind of a Dublin, and it's got the little bit of plateau on the top of the rim. I haven't even got to smoke it yet because I just got it yesterday. And we actually haven't asked us anything question, and that's why I didn't smoke it today, just so that we can talk about that. So those are the pipes. And then, because I was part of the Pipes, Pours, and Pals Football League, Stacy from Maharin Bespoke Works is absolutely a fantastic leather worker, and we got a little pipe tray with the Pipes, Pours, and Pals logo. And then we also got a pipe stand, and you can almost see it's got the Pipes, Pours, and Pals. And then it's also got her logo, which I absolutely love, which we're not going to be able to see. So I hope here's the logo.
Mm-hmm. There, I saw it.
Yeah, there we go. But Stacy,
if they want to see the logo, they can look at almost any tobacco smoke or any post that I do with a leather tray on it, and it has her logo.
Yeah,
That's
does
the only tray
amazing.
I use.
And she's just one of the nicest people. It's hard to say that the pipe community, that there are people that are more nice than others. But Stacy, like I said, I was in the Pipe Spores and Pals League with her. Just a wonderful person, just a great outlook on life, and makes some incredible leather work. So if you need something leather, please look Stacy up at Maharin Bespoke Works. So fantastic. So Tim, we have Ask Us Anything questions, and they're really good this week. So, shall we get to it? Aaron, did you want to ask Tim and I any questions?
No.
Good. Because
good
nobody
job.
needs to. Yeah.
Good job.
Excellent
Good job.
decision.
Smart. You will not be dumber for having made that decision.
That's right. Okay, so as always, at Noah's House to send us some questions, Tim. And the first one is for you. Tim, do you have a curing process when you receive briar? I
do not. And here's why. The briar that I get, I buy it retail from Fremel or Vermont Freehand, and it's already cured.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's already done. Ready to use. Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is to both of us, straight grain, sandblast, or rusticated. What's our preference?
For me, it depends on the grain. So if the grain is a maker, so if the grain is nice, it's straight, and it improves and flows with the lines of the pipe, then I prefer to leave it smooth and do a contrast dye to bring that out. If it's kind of wonky, then I'll do a sandblast or a rustication, depending upon, if it's the grain is kind of patchy, but there's nice ring grain, horizontal grain, then I'll blast it. If it doesn't have either of those, then I'll rusticate it.
Noah, to answer your question, I don't really have a preference. If a pipe I really like is rusticated, great. If a pipe I really like is sandblasted, great. If a pipe I really like is smooth, great. I really don't have a preference one way or another. When I look at a pipe that I'm going to purchase or I'm going to trade for or do whatever, when I look at it, okay, I love the shape, I love the look, the bowl size is perfect. It really doesn't, it doesn't affect the way I feel about it in any way, shape, or form. So, there you go. All right. Now, he did make a comment on pipe tobacco. So, I'm going to read that to you guys. He goes, so, I like to mess around with things. Your blends are tops in my book, you know that. But there are some I don't agree with. The one that stands out the most is Colwyn Bay Navy. Swear it was out to hurt me. Too much Virginia for me. Well, it's all Virginia. That's all that's in Colwyn Bay. I found it to be, I have found too heavy of a Virginia blend doesn't agree with me. Too hot, too sweet, just overwhelming. I have more notes on this blend than any other. Different times, pipes, etc. I didn't give up though. I listen to a lot of different pipe podcasts, and people have all kinds of things they do. So I decided to set the jar in the sun for about a week or so, and then I microwaved it for 11 seconds. For me, it completely changed the blend. mellowed it out, took away the bite, and just made it all around a more pleasurable smoke. Just wanted to share my journey with this blend.
Wow, interesting.
Interesting. I would like to put my blends out in the sun here, but I live in Colorado. They would just be frozen. The walruses or the polar bears would come and take them, and I can't risk it here. But, once I move back to the south, I will definitely give that a try. Okay. Next up is Lance. And he starts off with his email with, "Hey, Big Meat. Hope you're doing well out there in Colorado." Very
How's
fun.
it hanging, Big Meat?
Yeah, that's right. I had a question for Tim. Calls me Big Meat and then asks a question of Tim that will hopefully make it on the next show. Not sure that I've heard about this, what he likes to smoke. So, Tim, what are your favorite tobaccos right now?
In general, well, of course, top of the list is always Latakia, and then I like vapors. Balkan blends, like that. Things that blends that have Latakia in it. That's just kind of that's my gig. I like the Latakia.
All right, excellent. So, what are you smoking tonight, Aaron?
I think this was the last blend that you sent me I hadn't tried, but it's the Mountaineer's Resolve.
All right. There you go. And he actually sent us 5 pipes. So I'm going to ask Lance if he wants to come on and do a segment with us to talk about your 5 pipes. Because we have Chad, our friend Chad, longtime listener to the channel, longtime supporter. He would like to come on and talk about his 5 favorite pipes. And we need to book him maybe next week, maybe the week after, to have him come on and talk about his 5 favorite pipes. But he did give us a list. I don't want to read the list because I want him to come on and talk about his pipes.
Well,
so
that's
Lance,
good. Let's have him on.
Yeah,
Yep.
So Lance, when you see this, know that I'm going to message you sometime this coming week to get you to come on to talk about your 5 favorite pipes. Okay. And then last, Steve, via email, Tim and Jim, how do you break in new pipes? Tim? And we'll leave it ask Aaron. So you're going to get 3 opinions here. So we'll go with Tim, we'll go with Aaron, and then I'll tell you what I do.
Probably nothing special. I mean, I put probably only halfway, pack it only maybe halfway, and smoke it. Try not to get it hot, but and then when I burn it down to ash, let it dry, let it sit for a day or so, and then come back and do it again, and then just keep filling it up a bit more and more every time until I've got a cake built up on the inside, and then there you have it. So don't know if it's right or wrong. It seems to work for me.
Okay.
I think the key though is letting it rest after you've smoked it the first time, and then come back the next day and when it's dried out, and then run it again.
All right. Aaron, how do you break in a new pipe?
I've tried a couple different ways. And like Tim said, I do about the same thing, but instead of doing the half pack, I'll do a really loose pack all the way to the top, and then once I do my initial light on it, then I'll push it down about halfway and then finish it. And I do that repeatedly, for the first 6 or 7 bowls through it. And I'm having to learn how to break in a radiator because it's a little bit different. But now I'm taking the bowl off and flipping it over to help dry the underside of it where the chamber is. But I'm not having, I don't have to do that on a regular pipe.
Okay. All right. So here's what I'll tell you. If the bowl comes to me uncoated, I will treat it differently than a coated bowl. So some pipe makers you get pipes from, And you can see here Richard puts a bowl coating in. And I think Richard uses that activated carbon and, what is it, yogurt or sour cream or something, and they mix it up and do the bowl coating with that. And if that's the case, then I will smoke 2 very lightly packed bowls through it and, let the cake build from there. Now, on my woo pipe, it came unfinished on the inside. And I'm not the most patient person in the world. And when I came back to pipe smoking, someone told me if you get an uncoated bowl, take honey and just a little drop on your finger and run it around the inside of the bowl all the way from top to bottom so that it gets a coating of honey on it. And then let it sit for a day or 2 until the honey is just lightly tacky. And then pack a bowl in it and smoke it. And what happens is that as the heat from the tobacco goes down, it crystallizes and starts the cake. The honey crystallizes to the bowl, and it comes out really well. And everything that I get that is an uncoated bowl has honey in it, and that's how I do it. So, and and the other thing too that people do, that if you get a new pipe and you get the bowl coating going, don't scrape the inside of it with a knife. You're taking the bowl coating out. When you do that, just, a pipe nail, just run it down. If you've got like a big chunk stuck to the side, then, pop that off. But for the most part, leave it alone. Don't scrape it out with a knife. So there you go. All right. Excellent.
I had a question that was submitted as well, and it was from Brian, and it's showing up now on my in my emails, Brian L. But I think it's Brian Lane, and it said, "Hello Tim, hope you're doing well. I've noticed that you have made a number of calabash pipes, and a question I have is, there a certain reason that somebody would want a calabash pipe? Do they smoke a certain way or differently with different blends?" And I'll tell you what I answered to Brian, and then I think I'm going to modify my answer a little bit. So I've got a couple of calabashes, and I've got one Cavalier pipe, and the concept's the same, and it's sort of like the Radiator pipe. You've got a reservoir for the smoke to collect and moisture to be diverted so that it, gravity will let it drop down and you won't get it up the draft and into your mouth. And so, I don't really tell much of a difference of tobacco to tobacco. They all come out, kind of a cool, dry smoke. But I think if there's any tobacco, for me anyway, that it would make a difference on would be like Virginia's. Because of any tobacco, what I will get is tongue bite with Virginia's, and especially if it's not fully dried before I pack the pipe, and some you're really working at it to try to keep it lit, and you end up pulling that moisture, that sour moisture up into the to the bit. And so I think, for any tobacco, it would be true, for me anyway, of a Virginia. So there's my answer.
All right. I have a Mersham calabash, and I have one of Tim's calabashes, Brian. Are we sure it's not Father Brian? Brian Leonard?
No.
No? Okay,
No,
different Brian.
It was Brian Lane or Brian Lance.
Okay.
His last name's not showing up, and I have a terrible memory.
Yeah. Calabashes do smoke cooler. So if you've got a tobacco that runs hot, and typically tobaccos that run hot for me are something that has a low pH level, something that's a little bit more acidic. That will take some of the sting out of it. That will take a little bit of the potential for tongue bite out of it. So typically all Virginia blends are lower on the pH scale, especially if they're flue cured Virginias. So calabashes, Tim is correct that Virginias do very, very well in calabashes. And then also anything that is like moist. So if you've got a navy blend or you've got something that's been heavily topped like an aromatic, that's a little goopy, calabashes will take some of the sting out of that too. So there you go. Any other questions, Tim? That wrap up the
That's
Ask
it.
Us Anything? All right. So our mutual friend Mike asked me to make him a blend, and he wanted the blend named Iron Mike's Cavendish Navy. And it is 3 Cavendishes and stoved Virginia topped with rum. And we're going to take it out of the press because this is your puck coming to you, Mike. So if you're watching the podcast, Mike, thank you for thinking of me to make this blend for you. And by the way, when you top tobacco with rum and you press it, it doesn't matter what color it was when it started, it's going to be dark. And I won't lie to you, Mike. I thought this was going to be something funky and not really in my wheelhouse. And I made 2 samples of it, and I took my sample of it out yesterday and tried a bowl of it. So here is the puck, and it is a very dark black. But it has a fantastic tin note and a really interesting smell. And that will be coming to you, probably get out in the mail tomorrow afternoon to you, Mike. So thank you for thinking of me. And Iron Mike's Cavendish Navy. There you go.
All right. Good.
There you go. And then lastly, there's this great traditional country artist out called Charles Wesley Godwin. If you haven't heard some of his music, please go listen to it. He's got 2 songs that I absolutely love, Minor Imperfections and Family Ties. And one of the lyrics in the song, and he's from West Virginia, talking about Seneca skies. And I thought, okay, cool. So I'm going to make a blend called Seneca Skies. And in this blend, it's 3 Virginias, some Tennessee, Kentucky, light fire cured leaf. So it's not a dark fire cured leaf, a little rustica, well, a lot of rustica. So it's got a very sweet taste to it because the 3 Virginias in it are very sweet. It's lemon leaf and red BF. And there's the magic puck, and that's Seneca size. And I topped it with Pikesville rye because surprisingly enough, although I can't drink Pikesville rye, it does amazing things to pipe tobacco, and I really, really like it. So, Eric, thank you for turning me on to Pikesville rye because I love the flavor it imparts on tobacco. So Seneca Skies will be sampled tomorrow, sampled all this week, and I'll let you guys know what I think of it, and we'll kind of go from there. So
nice.
Get it
All
rubbed
right,
out,
good. That sounds like a nice blend. The Seneca Skies, yeah.
It's good for those of you that are nicotine averse. I would probably tell you to walk away because the Tennessee, Kentucky light fire cured and the Rustica both have a high nicotine count. So it will be, again, if you're nicotine averse, probably not a blend for you, but something interesting. So, and again, creativity comes in waves for me, probably like you guys. You get an idea and you go with it, and I go stretches of time where I don't want to blend anything, just what people send me. And Mike's idea was fantastic. I really thought that was going to be a dog, but it is fantastic. And I'm shocked. I really am. So there you go. That's all I got this week, guys. We've been doing this for a couple hours.
Hour and a half.
Wow. Yeah. Well, Aaron, it has been fantastic to have you on with us. We had a hoot. What an absolute blast. We both love your work and look forward to seeing what you do in 2024, and we'd love to have you come back at some point in the future.
And just let me know, and I enjoyed it, and I hope y'all have a good evening.
All right.
Yeah, you too. Right. Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks for coming on with us, Aaron. Well,
You're
it's
welcome,
2024. Happy New Year. And may everyone's 2024 be blessed, and we'll be back next week with Garrett Wu from Pipes by Wu.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.